This project has provided a fantastic opportunity for 3 organisations to work together: Coreo Cymru, Urban Reaction Research Lab and Earthfall. Really interesting to be able to take and work with a piece that's already been developed and toured internationally on a number of occasions. So it's really very rich in its dialogue and its movement vocabulary.
From URL's position, the project has been another amazing opportunity to work with the support of Coreo Cymru. Carol Blade's been very visionary in helping to support our initial vision for transferring dance into a dome environment, and working alongside a company like Earthfall has given us the opportunity to build upon the steep learning curve we went through last year when we were doing the Submergence trilogy, which was our first foray into Fulldome live action capture. And we're kind of taking the things we learnt from that and tried to transfer them into this much sort of longer, more innovative and challenging narrative-driven piece.
A lot of our theatre works are turned into film. The latest film that we've made is in collaboration with Dance Dome and Coreo Cymru, and it's called Pala Mi Heart. Pala Mi Heart is based on one of our live works, and it tells the story of 2 boys who fall in love, and one eventually loses his life. This is our first experience of making a dome film, and it's a much more difficult challenge than flat screen. And in the middle of the process of making a dome film, you almost go on your knees and beg up to the heavens that, oh, please show me a flat screen. You know, it's very, very difficult, because you're considering the audience has to see, is able to look at everything all around, and including the backs of their heads.
I suppose one of the most difficult challenges that we had with the dome format is that it's amazing for landscape and environment. It's astonishing. It surrounds the audience, and it really makes you feel like you're in that place. But when you want to express detail of relationships and emotionality, it's really hard to get the close-ups. If you were working with a flat screen, you'd zoom in, you'd see the look in someone's eye, you'd see the thoughts behind their eye, because you can get in that close. But with the dome, you can't.
One of the things that's super interesting about Fulldome is traditional shot, reverse shot, what we're used to seeing in regular cinema, where we have a scene and it's sort of a wider shot, and then we kind of cut in with what we call coverage, which are sort of tighter shots and the scene's all broken up. It doesn't really work in this format, especially in an environment like this where you see your ceiling, and you can't really do a lot of cutting in between the scenes. So that was a really big challenge.
There's less shots, but more longer takes, and I have to crouch a lot. But the setup time and the practice time, even just for the camera movement, it takes a lot longer, and it needs to be more precise so that everything happens the way it should, and I don't appear in the film. That's the hardest part.
So you simply see everything that's around you, which is very difficult in any circumstances, but particularly in this one as well, because this is a period piece where we need to make the location that we're at to appear that it's happening in the early part of the 20th century in Ireland.
We're taking what is an hour and 10 theatre piece into a 20-minute dome piece.
The challenge was for us to be able to find a way to still get this narrative across, and then if we do that, if we manage to achieve that, then I think we've made some developments in this genre. But it is an exciting, when it works, it really works, and it's very exciting. But it's at the moment it's still, for us, trial and error, certainly.
I think we won in a couple of situations. We thought, oh yeah, okay, we have really been able to feel the relationship between the boys, who of course are the central characters in this film. But the other interesting challenge for us is the movement, because if you spin the camera around too much, you can make people nauseous. And also the way that you have to invert what you're seeing. So if you're looking down on something, that actually means that you're looking up at it in the dome. So it took me ages to get my head around that, and I think I'm still grappling with that. But it's learning, so it's a big learning curve.
In prep, we would just go around and I was just showing the locations and said things would happen here, but no real idea of what it would be. And so Jim and Jess would kind of show up that morning and sort of create something out of whatever environment we were in, and they did a great job. We definitely captured some kind of magical little moments that you know, were unscripted, so to speak.
It's kind of given us a chance to kind of muddle it all up a bit. It's like taking a puzzle that's already been made and just throwing it all apart and then putting the pieces all in the wrong places, but for fun. It's been really cool, and like, because space isn't really an issue, and like, we have more freedom. We can kind of pick our favorite bits and like whack them together into like a short little burst of awesomeness.
I mean, the way the boys are, the dancers, they all and really the piece being done so many times, you kind of have a mental image of what it would be like in reality, and this is pretty close to what it would be like really in my head, I think. So it's just interesting to see the boys freezing their ass off really in the water, and probably how it would be in real life, but enjoying themselves as well, sort of full of life. And I
was just saying to Murilo actually, doing this now it brought to life the stage version, which was wicked. I mean, we just filmed the dragging out of the water scene, and it was exactly how I imagined it when we were doing the stage version. The taste of the salt in my mouth, and you know, struggling to get out of the sea with Murilo. So doing it in real life was great.
It's almost like the locations that were picked, it's like reliving our imagination. The way that we saw it in our minds when we were doing the show seems to be exactly what we're filming in at the moment. So it's really cool. Like, it's kind of bringing it to life in a whole new level.
One of the first roles that me and Yanire, as production managers on Palomar Heart, had to undertake was defining the locations. The book is obviously set just outside Dublin in the period of the Easter Uprising. So from our perspective, it was really important to stay true to the original book narrative as much as we could, but also open it up so it ties in with Jim and Jess's vision of the stage show. We had to use locations in Wales because we love this place, we love working here, we love the support it offers us, and it's got the most amazing selection of sort of natural landscapes. So a lot of the production happened in Pembrokeshire. We've also been doing some of the more urban stuff in Newport and Cardiff. We were fortunate enough to get to film in the City Hall in Cardiff, which was a great opportunity. Yeah, looking forward to seeing how it translates. The 360 medium is phenomenal for the way it captures an environment, but obviously because you're seeing so much of the world at once, you've got to be very careful as to the kind of telltale signs of modern living. You know, we need to make sure that it looks like it's 1915, 1916.
And also creating an environment which has a backdrop of conflict and war is very difficult within the limitations of our brief and our budget. So, but then again we go back to the kernel of the story and try to work the story and not worry too much about this First World War or Easter Rising backdrop. But we will find a way to infiltrate more of it.
I don't hate the English, and I don't know do I love the Irish.
From looking at the rushes so far, I really like the stuff on the beach, where the sun is setting and the boys are just in their trunks. I think there's one element where we used a circle track, and then Matt proposed that we use a long straight track, which I think was very effective, and I'm glad we did that. And the footage as a result, with the boys in the sunset and the resuscitation part, I think is really strong.
I think it's been amazing for us to be able to shoot at that super fast speed so that we can slow moments of flight down, because as a choreographer that's always something that you wish for in your dreams, and then all of a sudden, okay, we can see that. So we could see boys flying through the air, or water droplets splashing towards the lens of the camera super slow, and that was really exciting as well to have that possibility.
We're here at an abandoned World War I hangar, or maybe World War II, I think it's actually World War II hangar, and out in the Welsh countryside, about a half an hour from Cardiff, Wales, and we're shooting the more traditional dance portion of this movie. This is kind of, as far as I know, this is what they did in the stage show.
In our live work that we use to derive notions of for this film that we're making, one of the choreographic provocations that we gave ourselves was to have the boys perform in water. And we love that provocation because it meant that we could choreograph without the normal friction that you get. So it opened out a whole spectrum of new movements to us.
The biggest challenge with what we've done today is really just the water, because there's, you know, as the dancers move around in the water, they spray the lens, and in prep we developed an apparatus that you know, attaches to the lens and blows the water droplets away, and works pretty good about 90% of the time.
So one of the things that's so exciting for us on the creative team is working out ways in which we can capture some of the ideas that we've had in our head, and how best to transfer the amazing choreography and the movement that Jim and Jess have created in the stage piece, and working out how that can be captured for the Fulldome medium at the kind of resolutions that we require. There isn't really perfect solutions out there within the price bracket that we can be looking at, so we've had to do a lot of kind of lateral thinking on this project as to how we can have water spraying around a room without it landing on the lens. How can we film underwater and not trash a camera every time we do it, but capturing 180 degrees by 360 at the same time. It's been challenging, but it's been a lot of fun.
I've been converting with Matt, a waterproof housing into a fisheye waterproof housing. We should be we're gonna test it this afternoon, and it should be pretty good. Is that we get the very first, I think, underwater 360-degree swimming sequence, and hopefully that will work out and will look amazing.
We've got a team of musicians who've worked with Earthfall for many years. Originally, when we did our live show, a trumpet player called Roger Mills did the original soundtrack along with Frank Norton. We used that for the basis of the second, the revival of that work, and then we brought in a third musician, Sean Orgon. And as Roger is now emigrated to Australia, Frank and Sean are going to put together the soundtrack for this movie. They're going to use the original music as a springboard, but they're writing completely new score to fit the film. So I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be great, and it's going to be a good challenge for them too. Because
a film is 360, you really want to surround the viewer with a 360-degree soundscape. So in order to simplify what we're doing. I think we're trying to capture live sound as far as we can in order to then complement it with other stuff. With this it's really hard because you can't get close to the action at all. You've got to hide in the craziest of places, or behind the tracks, or behind the cameraman, lying down, and sometimes you can't even get any sound at all. So you've got to try and get whatever you can and try and imagine how the end product will be.
To be honest with you, there were a few moments out in Pembrokeshire where, you know, it doesn't happen that often where you get to kind of sit back and kind of just think to yourself, it's not a bad day at the office, you know.